Hello and welcome to another edition of Commando Gaming, where we try to give you intelligent gameplay that you can enjoy, and hopefully get you interested in not only different games but also different types of gameplay that you can have within the same game. If you are interested in and enjoy this video, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And also hit the bell so you know when we drop our next video. So what we're going to do today is we're going to delve into what is arguably my favorite game right now, which is BattleTech. But we're not going to do BattleTech. If you review our channel, we have plenty of gameplay on what we would call vanilla or traditional BattleTech. We have plenty of videos on what we would call Flashpoint BattleTech. We've also done career mode BattleTech. But what we're going to do now is a very interesting mod on BattleTech, which I really have started to enjoy, which is called RogueTech. Now, I've played hundreds of hours of traditional BattleTech. At this point, I've done about 5 to 10 hours of RogueTech off channel to get comfortable with it. And now I'm going to give you some gameplay from RogueTech to see if this is something you would be interested in. Now, I know a lot of people who play games are a little hesitant to do mods because it's a lot of hassle. But actually the RogueTech mod is pretty easy. They actually do a really good job of packaging the mod in one basically loading screen, so you can very quickly put this mod into place. Now, there are a couple tricks to it, and there are plenty of guides on the internet. Just look up installation of RogueTech, and you can probably find videos that will do a far better job of explaining what you need to do than me, because I'm not as technically savvy when it comes to mods. But it was pretty easy. I was able to install it with some trial and error in about an hour to 2 hours. That involves some problems involving Windows 10. Windows 10 actually makes it a little harder to install this mod. But again, if you check those installation guides, you can even put in install RogueTech Windows 10, and it will give you pointers on how to get around some of the roadblocks that you might get with Windows 10. So let's talk about the progression of BattleTech really quickly before I dive into gameplay. So there's vanilla BattleTech, which I loved for what it was. But you really had very limited gameplay because there was a campaign only. Then they did a great job of adding not only Flashpoint, which added some story to the context of the game, but also career mode, which allows you to, again, throw out the story and just explore the universe. And then we have various other mods that are out there that kind of explore the edges of what BattleTech would do. RogueTech is basically a collection of mods that was developed to create an all-inclusive, expansive, true BattleTech experience. So some of the things that are going to be different, and I'll kind of highlight these throughout the match, is you have a lot more flexibility as how you design your settings for the gameplay. It opens up the map. One of the problems that BattleTech fans don't get frustrated with is that the map on BattleTech is very limited, and it gets a little tiresome to continually go to the same areas, or maybe you want to explore different parts of the BattleTech universe that you can't explore in vanilla BattleTech. And maybe those expanded maps will show up in the future. I'm thinking maybe the next upgrade for BattleTech is going to be urban warfare. I think that's going to be centered in the same part of the map. I think expansion 3, which is currently planned probably for 2020 is going to include more of the map. But fortunately, RogueTech does that for you. It expands the map extensively. Also, your ability to craft the mech that you want is extremely flexible. If anybody's played Mech Warrior Online, basically they've taken the flexibility of customizing your mech and incorporated a lot of the things that you see in Mech Warrior Online, and you'll see that as we get into modding these mechs. It's exceptionally flexible. There's lots of unique weapons. There's lots of unique armor types. There's enhancements that will improve your melee, for example, enhancements that will improve your accuracy. And you'll see that as we go through the game. Another thing that totally changes this game is they've actually redesigned the aiming and movement to the point that it's very realistic to what you would see in a real military situation, and also what you would see traditionally in the BattleTech universe. And I'll explain this as it means. When in vanilla BattleTech, it kind of calculates the aiming based on the assumption that you move, and then you stop, and then you shoot. And then that, as a result of that, in traditional BattleTech, I mean, a bad hit percentage is probably 65%. You know, more likely than not, you're going to hit. Whereas in RogueTech, it's basically assumed that all of the mechs on the map are in constant movement, which is what you would see in traditional BattleTech. And as a result of that, you're moving, your opponent's moving, and that's going to impact your chances of a hit. So your chances of a hit are much, much lower in RogueTech, and that completely changes the game. In addition, the AI is much more advanced than in vanilla BattleTech. They will do lots of creative things to try to destroy your mechs. Also, in BattleTech, you would say be advancing across the map, and you'd be like, oh, there's a locust. I'll take care of that later. It's not really a big deal. It can't really do any damage. Well, in RogueTech, for all you know, that locust might have been modified to include AC-20, for example. So you can't just dismiss a mech and say, oh, it's just a locust. I'll take care of that at the end of the mission. You have to actually protect your flanks, make sure the enemy doesn't get behind you, and you can't take any opponent for granted because you never know until it shoots at you what weapons it has. Another thing you're going to see is that missiles are even more unlikely to hit than, for example, lasers in this, which is probably pretty accurate. Again, given the fact that missiles are being shot at a set point and your opponent is constantly moving, it makes for much more realistic gameplay here. So I'm going to go into that more as we get into the gameplay, but I just wanted to highlight some differences. So in short, if you play BattleTech and you like it and you enjoy it, but after a while you're like, yeah, this is kind of repetitive. I just kind of move across the map, destroy the enemy, collect salvage, and upgrade my mechs. You're going to see with RogueTech, it's infinitely more complex. For example, when you get salvage in this game, they put the mech parts together, but you're not given standard base model of that mech. You're kind of have a bunch of mech parts that are thrown together and they make a mech, but you might be missing, for example, an engine, which is a separate component part in RogueTech. You might be missing armor. You might have key systems that are destroyed. So you might get a mech, but it might not, it's probably not going to be ready to go out and fight. And you're going to have to spend more time getting those mechs up to the point where you want to use them on the battlefield. And that makes collecting your team much more interesting. Another thing that's different is when you go on a mission, at least one day takes place after the end of your mission. So you can't, in BattleTech career mode, you could probably do 7 or 8 missions in a day if you were really good at managing your mechs. That's not possible. Each day in BattleTech takes at least one game day. Another important distinction, really important, is in traditional BattleTech, if you lost armor but you didn't have internal structure damage, you could immediately go right back out because that armor just gets magically fixed and you could go out and do another mission. In RogueTech, it takes time for armor to be repositioned on your mech. So that's another factor, and there's a cost associated with that as well. So this is all about... BattleTech was a very good vanilla experience, but it quite frankly, it was kind of too easy, which is why a lot of people start reverting to mods after a couple hundred hours of BattleTech, because it really doesn't give you a challenge. In this game, you can have a Locust get a lucky shot on the rear of your Atlas and take it out. I mean, that's an extreme example, but it can happen. It's much harder for you to keep your mechs going. And of course, there's a much wider range of weapons in this mod, which we'll go into further. So again, there's a lot of nuances. I just want you to get in the mindset when you're watching this video. If you are used to BattleTech, this is a totally different experience for you. Totally different strategy, total different management of your mercenary team. It's completely different, okay? So we're going to get into that. So, and if you haven't played BattleTech at all, I would suggest you watch a couple of our vanilla BattleTech mods before you watch gameplays, so you can see what traditional BattleTech is, and you're going to see the difference between traditional BattleTech and what we do with RogueTech. So that's a lot of talk. We're going to get right into the gameplay here, but I just wanted to go over a few basics before we move forward. So we're here on our loading screen. We're going to, of course, load our career. So we'll do that just like you would in traditional gameplay. Now, I've kind of gone in and done some of the minutia to get my mechs ready to fight. So I've kind of done some of that. So I'm technically on day 4 because I had to make some changes to my mech, but it doesn't really matter so much in this gameplay. So we're going to go ahead and load this game, and I'll go through some of the things that I did just to kind of prepare. I didn't want to, for example, one of the things I always do, if you've watched these videos, is I don't like jump jets. They're not worth the heat, and that's even more so in RogueTech. And I don't like the amount of armor and weapons that they make you trade off just to have jump jets. So one of the first things I always do on a mech is I get rid of jump jets. Some people like jump jets, some people don't. Some people say, especially with RogueTech, that you can have a light mech with jump jets and you can just jump behind the enemy and do some damage to their rear arc. I mean, that's all well and good, but I really don't like jump jets. I think the trade-off is too extreme. Especially in this game, the chances of you losing your mechs is significantly higher than in traditional BattleTech. So you want to have as much armor as possible so your mechs can survive, because it's harder to get mechs in this game. They're more likely to be destroyed or damaged. So you really got to do a good job of maximizing your armor, and I just think jump jets are too expensive for what you have to pay. So that's where we stand on this particular issue. So just keep all that in mind. One of the things you're also going to see in RogueTech is it does take longer for games to load. It does take longer for things to calculate. Your opponents are going to be much more thoughtful in how they handle their attacks. So generally speaking, this is going to be a slower paced game, but it's going to be much more rewarding because you're going to actually feel like there's a serious danger to your mechs and your company. And the reason that gets interesting is because of the simple fact that you could lose a mech any given turn in RogueTech. It's just very interesting, the complexities of this game. So what we're doing now is we're just going to wait for this stuff to get loaded up. Again, it takes a little longer. But that's all part of the fun here. So we're going to wait for this to load up here. So here we go as we speak. So let's go over a couple things before we jump into gameplay. So we have our barracks here. And what I've done is I've kind of maxed out my initial guys. So I've got myself, just so you know, in honor of Avengers Endgame, I've added a little fun to this. So my call sign is Endgame. My first name is Tony, last name Stark. Again, if you're Marvel fans, you can appreciate that. Just a little fun. And I've actually called my mech group Endgame's Revengers. Again, that's just some Marvel fun going into as we eagerly await the release of Endgame. So I've maxed out all of my players here. One thing you'll see here is in traditional BattleTech, there were some skills that were super critical and there were some skills that were not super critical. So you kind of played around with that. The designers of RogueTech have basically made everything very important, right? So what you want to actually have is have a balanced mech warrior. You can't just go all gunnery or all guts. You want to advance tactics and you want to advance piloting because it has a much larger effect on your gameplay than with traditional BattleTech. In the past, I'll be honest with you, tactics was always one of the last things that I expanded in traditional BattleTech. So again, I've kind of maximized all of my guys already, just for the speed of this video. All right, so let's go into our mech bay. So in our mech bay, what you end up with to start is very interesting because not only that, not only do you have situations where you're kind of given some random mechs to start the game, and it's also based generally on where you start out. So for example, if you start out as a in Steiner territory, you're almost always going to get a one set of mechs as a start versus another start. Now there's some variances, but generally speaking, where you start in the map helps indicate what you're going to get when you start out. So this is the group that I started out with. I started out with a Centurion. Now, one of the things you're going to find, again, there are over 400 types of mechs in this game, I believe. So there's so many different variants that, for example, on this one, we have a traditional Centurion, but it has a LB-X autocannon. Again, a weapon that isn't found in vanilla Minecraft, so it's given a different designation. This one is a copy of Yen Lo Wang, which is not the traditional mech, if you know mech lore, but it's a replica. So it's actually a pretty powerful mech. And I was very lucky to get this in the dice roll that generated my weapons. Now it's giving me a refit warning. See this right here? It's telling me one or more issues, go to the mech bay to figure out what the problem is. So let's see what the problem is here. I think it might be I'm underweight. Let's see. Again, these, I guess you could call them cutscene segments. All right, so it's telling me that's correct. I'm underweight. So I've already maxed out my tonnage. And one of the things that you'll see in RogueTech, you don't end up with extra stuff in your mech bay, so you can quickly just upgrade. So I'm under tons, even though I took out jump jets and I maximized the armor. So what I'm going to do as we add weapons, then I'll find ways to use this tonnage. But I don't have anything to use right now, so that's why I'm underweight. And you'll see, let's go into this other one because it's going to give me the same reason for this warning. But I didn't really jump into what I want to do in either this gameplay or future videos is kind of explain how you can reconfigure your mech. I mean, this is expansive. So, for example, guess what? We've got pulse lasers in RogueTech. We have ferrofibrous armor, which takes up slots, but makes your mech lighter and stronger. We have endosteel, which also makes your mech lighter and stronger. We also have very unique weapon systems. For example, this allows an improvement on fire control. So those are all good things to have. We have case, which redirects in the event of an explosive damage to your mech. It limits how much damage it does to your mech. So there's a lot of things. Here's the engine. So there's an engine that you can switch out engines if you want to. But again, all of that takes time and it takes parts, and I don't have any parts at this time. So as you can see, your ability to modify your mech is at a very high level. So let's look at our mech. So we've got 2 Centurions. They're very solid mechs, especially this Yen Lo Wang. I'm very excited to try that one out. I haven't fought with any of these mechs yet. We have a Valkyrie, which is a new type. So out of the mechs that I was assigned, and I do have a Venom here, a Vulcan, which is being repaired, but I only need 4 mechs to go out, so we'll take a look at that one later. And so that's your ability to make your company with the mechs that you want and the weapons that you want is infinitely flexible in this game. So we'll go to engineering here. One of the things I started immediately was upgrading my power system, which is critical to future upgrades. So now let's look at the most exciting thing, okay? So let's go to our navigation tab, right? And let's take a look at this navigation map. And what do we have? We have the entire inner sphere and the periphery available for exploration. So if I want to go to the clan worlds up here, I can go there. I have to follow the path and it's going to take a long time, but I can get to the clan worlds if I wanted to. everything that you can find in the BattleTech universe is basically available for exploration. Now, I'm right now at New Avalon, which is the capital of the Federated Suns. As you can see, the Federated Suns here is dotted in yellow. We've got the Steiner area. We've got the Free Worlds League. We've got the St. Ives Compact. We've got, of course, an infinite number of parts of this universe that are available to explore. And that's the most exciting part about RogueTech. So we're going to dive into that probably in future videos. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pick a mission. And I'm going to take a relatively easy mission because I want to highlight some of the things that we will see here. So, all right, let's take a simple mission, mopping up mission, which is basically, and one of the things you're going to find is there's a lot more range of mission types that were painstakingly developed by the people who came up with RogueTech, which makes things infinitely more interesting. So let's go with mopping up, which is basically a let's see. So some lances were left on the surface, and we're going to go in and take them out. Just like with traditional BattleTech, especially early, and the fact that I've given myself a decent amount of funds to start out with, which is a variable which you can select. I'm going to go ahead and select a max salvage, which is 210. And we're up against a clan lance. So one of the things about this RogueTech is whenever I see an opportunity to go up against the clans and it looks like a mission I can succeed in, I want to take that mission. Why? Because the clan has double heat sinks. They have more efficient engines. They have better weapons. So if I can, even if I get a couple pulse lasers from, say, a light clan mech, I can put them on a heavy mech down the road. So these missions are a really good way to get some clan hardware, which I can add on to my mechs. So let's go ahead and take this mission. All right, so we're going to go ahead and slot these guys in. I'm going to have the commander in our most powerful weapon. Although, I mean, I really got a great lance. I can't complain about this lance at all. I mean, 2 Centurions and a couple light mechs to start things out is a great start. So we're going to go with the Wolfhound, which I like the Wolfhound a lot for a light mech. And you'll see why. It actually has a lot of firepower for a light mech in this game, in RogueTech. And then we'll take the Valkyrie here. He's really just going to be a scout at this point. And so one of the things you're going to see here real quickly before we launch this mission is you have a drop cost. Okay? So not only do you have administrative costs in RogueTech that you don't have in BattleTech, you also have drop costs. So if I want to go on this mission, it's going to cost me 35,700 C-bills just for gas to get down to the planet. So that's an important factor. Is that going to impact your interest in a particular mission, right? Because let's say you're running out of money. Maybe you don't have enough money to even go on a mission. It's theoretically possible. So these are all interesting factors. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and deploy. So we've got 2 Centurions, a Wolfhound, and a Valkyrie. Now, one of the things you're going to see, especially when we're going up against the clans, that I'm probably going to be against some light mechs, given the fact that this is a half skull mission. But those light clan mechs can do a lot of damage. And they're very creative and they're very smart about how they attack you. So even though I have a heavier lance, this could be a very tough battle, especially since my pilots are relatively inexperienced. So what we're going to do now is just let this load up. Unfortunately, those of you that have played BattleTech know that load times can be an issue. So we're just going to have to let this run. And you'll see in this, of course, that it's even a little longer with RogueTech, because RogueTech has, not only does it have 400 mech types, which have to be generated in any given battle, it also has a much larger number of maps, and it also has a much larger number of tanks, missile launchers. So it's a much more complex loading process. This is actually going pretty fast right now, I gotta say. It's loading up pretty fast, probably because it's a one skull mission or a half skull mission. So there isn't as much for it to generate as if it was a complex mission. So as I say that, it's starting to slow down a little bit. One of the things I really like about RogueTech is, you know, those annoying messages that they had in the left corner. They were interesting the first couple times you played BattleTech, but after a while, it's like, yeah, I know everything, all this information you've already told me. But what RogueTech did is it took out that area, and it actually gives you a large number of interesting information that will help you succeed in RogueTech. So, for example, instability removes evasion and guarded. Perfect for a follow-up volley. So basically that's saying that if you make the enemy unstable, your next attack is going to be much more effective. Another interesting thing, and you're going to see this in this game, is they've added a human element to your opponents. So remember in the past where you'd be playing BattleTech and like the last locust on the field, even though he was the last locust and he was going up against your 4 atlases, just as an example, he would charge in and he would attack, and it would be really easy to take him out. They don't do this in RogueTech. So in RogueTech, if you have a light scout that's maybe outnumbered, what's he going to do? He's going to do hit and run tactics to try to cause as much damage to you as possible. Another thing is there's a psychological element to your opponents. So sometimes they'll be scared, sometimes they'll be confident, and that will all impact their ability to take shots. Sometimes your opponent will panic and they will actually eject from the head of the mech, which is actually a great thing for you because that increases the amount of salvage that you're going to get. Now, that doesn't happen very often. Usually it's the last opponent, and maybe they're surrounded by the rest of your whole lance, and they're getting attacked from all sides. And then they'll do what a logical pilot would do, is say, I'm going to get out of here. So that's where you might see someone eject. So we still got some loading time here. One of the things I always do if I'm not doing a video, of course, is, you know, maybe open up another tab on my computer and do some other things while I wait for these things to load. But here we go. So we're able to get into gameplay right now. So let's begin this mission. So we're probably going to do this one mission and discover and evaluate how it impacts our team. And then we'll probably do another video shortly with some more gameplay. But all right, so let's take a look at what we got here. All right. All right, the usual messages about what we need to do. Now, of course, we're in an arid planet. We're facing opponents. Of those of you that have played BattleTech know this map pretty well. So we've got some opponents on the other side of the lake, and it's always how do you want to attack those opponents, right? So you have to be much more cautious in RogueTech. I mean, I know in BattleTech when I got this map, it'd be like, all right, I'm just going to go to the right, and I'm going to circle around, and I'm going to attack my opponents, say, for example, this way. But with RogueTech, you never know what your opponent's going to do, so you actually have to be cautious about things. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to actually move up, take some cover on this cliff here. Now, another thing that's interesting that I actually really do like about RogueTech is they actually scaled everything correctly. So you might think, wow, you've got really small mechs, but they're actually the right size for the environment. See, so if we zoom in a little bit, kind of hard to do. See, if we zoom in, they're still large, but they're just not way oversized, which you saw in the original vanilla BattleTech game. And that's the case with vehicles too. So you remember when you used to have like an infantry carrier or APC that was the size of a battle mech, even though it was only 10 tons? That's not going to be the case in this game. So all the mechs are appropriately sized, which I really like. So this is our second most powerful mech. So maybe I'll position him in the middle. So once we figure out what we're going to do. All right, so it's round 2. We're not seeing any enemy activity. So what do we want to do? Do we want to do the traditional circle around to the right, which I've done many times before? I'll probably do that. So I'm going to move from cover. So what am I doing? I'm moving my light mechs out as scouts. And the heavier mechs will follow. I wish I could get these guys into cover. Although cover isn't as big as a factor in this game as it is in BattleTech. In fact, like your distance that you travel and your movement points are just as important. Now, it goes both ways. So the more you move, you're harder to hit, but that also makes it harder for you to hit the opponent. So you kind of have to make smart decisions on what you want to do. Looks like I missed a jump jet on this one when I took the jump jets off. So I'll have to fix that after this mission because I don't like to waste space on jump jets. It might be fine in this battle because I don't have anything else to put on my mech. All right, so no activity yet. So let's kind of try to sprint to cover over here. Again, we're trying to make very smart decisions. All right, we got our enemy turn. I don't see any enemy activity, but we're close enough for them to take turns now. So we're going to, again, move our lighter mechs up. I mean, you really want to use your mechs in RogueTech for what they're designed to do. It's infinitely important. And another thing in this game is you can't just load up your mechs with missiles and just knock your opponents down and get easy kills. It doesn't work that way in RogueTech at all. In fact, it gets to the point where you really have to consider, oh, we're taking some fire. As you'll see, the chances for a hit are really low, especially at long range in this game. So it's not surprising I didn't get hit there. So We've gotten an opponent coming in. Looks like it's a commando. Now, again, in the past, in BattleTech, I'd be like, oh, it's a commando. I don't have to worry about it. It's no big deal. A commando can kill you in this game. So, especially if they get in your flank. So what I'm probably going to do here is I'm going to stop, since I have good cover here, and see if I can get this commando to engage me. So one of the things you're going to get is in RogueTech, your initial information about what your opponent is not what you get. You don't get the full picture like you get in BattleTech. So in here, I don't even get a picture of my opponent. I just know it's probably a commando. I don't have any information about its armor. I don't have any information about its weapons because those change with every single mech. Now, there's probably some pulse lasers. I think I saw 2 pulse lasers, long-range pulse lasers shot at me. Now, the next thing you're going to see, our hit percentage is really low because why? I'm moving, the opponent is moving. So if you stand still, your hit chances will get up slightly, but it'll make it easier for them to hit you too. So we're just going to go 30% for the large laser at this range is actually not that bad. So I'm just going to go ahead and do full salvo. And I missed on every single shot. So we're going to move up our Centurion, get him under cover. And, oh, he only has a 17 hit per chance on his AC-20. Am I going to waste an AC-20 shot on 17%? No. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to brace. Because it's not worth... In BattleTech, you probably have like a 65% chance in that scenario. And you would probably take the shot and cause significant damage. You don't do that at long range in this game. Ooh, so this is actually a really good hit percentage for LRMs at this range against a clan opponent. So I'm going to take this shot for sure. Ooh, did some good damage there. So again, the mindset is very different in this game. You want to make the most of your shots. You want to make the most of your cover. Like everything you really have to think about. You can't just shoot and see what happens. Again, I'm not going to use my AC weapon on such a slow percent chance. But again, I've got a good chance on these medium range missiles. And a good chance on this tag, which if it hits will increase the aim for my whole team. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Got a good hit there. And I think the tag hit, and I'll show you what that will do hopefully next round. So again, I've got the enemy kind of where I want him right now. Do I want to move up? Do I want to move up? Yeah, I'm going to take the chance here and move my Wolfhound up because he's got a large laser. And I'm going to get some improved vision. Oh, okay. So we also have a Raven, which is a very tough opponent. I thought we would get a couple light mechs. So now I have vision on a Raven that was probably trying to flank me here, but now I know what he's up to. My heat is pretty high, so we're going to turn off some medium lasers. Oh, I can't even shoot my large laser because of the heat. Probably because of this environment. So we're just going to shoot off 2 medium lasers. Maybe we'll get lucky here. All right. Nice. Did some damage. Did some damage in particular to a pulse laser, but now here comes the catch-22. I'm taking some hits. So I kind of need to make that pay off. Ooh, a right. These guys are tough. I hate these guys. So again, there's nothing really I can do with this mech. Now this right, this is a very hard mech to fight. It's basically a Panther chassis with an oversized engine and stealth technology. So these guys are a real pain in the butt. So that's probably our largest opponent in this match. Again, I really can't do anything with this mech, so we're gonna pull back. Wolfhound's taking some hits. That was the downside of me being aggressive and moving him up. But then they caught sight of the Centurion and they're saying, well, we'd probably rather attack the Centurion than the Wolfhound. Alright, so now we got a couple opponents we can shoot at here. We've already done some damage to the Commando, and I've got a really good chance of hitting with this AC-10. So let's do... We're going to do a... I really don't care so much about salvage. Let's see if we can get his leg, though. But that actually reduces our chances of a hit. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to do a full salvo here. All right. So our tag hit. So we can actually... Everybody that shoots at that commando is actually going to have a much higher chance of a hit. What do we do here? We're kind of in a tough spot by the way they are approaching me. I'm going to move the Valkyrie out here. Maybe they won't attack the Valkyrie. It's got a real good chance at hitting with these LRMs. And we get a knockdown. Probably worth putting the Valkyrie out there. Alright, so I've got my Wolfhound. I need to pull my Wolfhound back to cover because he's already taken some hits. Or maybe I just increase his evasion and let him go after this commando. Really high percent chance on this large laser. Do I really want to get salvage on a commando? Probably not. But inside the center torso is engines and components. So maybe I try to do damage. All right, I took out both legs. That was great. Chances of that were not pretty good. So we got destroy enemy units, went to 33% completed. So we know we're now basically 2 against, or 4 against 2. But these are clan mechs. We can't take it for granted. 43% chance of a hit with the AC-20. Probably worth taking a shot here. I think it would be. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, our Inferno missiles hit, which increased the heat. All right, and the Valkyrie, where'd that right go? All right, so the right disappeared. Might be trying to get into our flank. So let's actually move the Valkyrie here. It's going to do 2 things. It's going to give me a good shot, hopefully, on this Raven. Pretty good. 70% chance of a hit. Which is really high for this game. I'm going to have to check. The Valkyrie might have some computers that actually improve the hit chance, because that's really high. But also the Valkyrie here can kind of protect my flank, because that right is out there somewhere. He's going to show up and probably... because he's incredibly fast. Oh, was that the right that's shooting at me? Probably was. All right, so our opponent has, they're withdrawing. You would never see this in regular BattleTech. Even though the opponent is outgunned, they're still going to come after you. So this is one of the big differences with RogueTech. The Raven here said, you know what? It's 4 against 1. I should probably do something smart and be defensive. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to kind of be smart about this too. I don't need to go charging after them. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of move back around. See, there's a much more tactical feel for this game instead of just charging at each other at full speed. So we're going to get our mechs into cover. All right, Raven's making another appearance. See, it's doing hit and run tactics. It was what the Raven was probably trying to do was trying to flank us. But our move kind of mitigated their ability to flank us. So, all right, so the dotted line here tells us we're doing indirect fire as opposed to direct, and it greatly decreases the chances for a hit. I'm going to go ahead and shoot. Not too bad. We got a pilot injury there. That was a bit of luck, I would say. Alright, so if I move here, I actually get a direct line of fire. I'm not going to use my AC-10. Might as well use the medium lasers. And my missiles have a much better shot. So let's go ahead and do pretty good there. Not bad for keeping the enemy at a distance. What I'd like to do is finish taking out this Raven and then figure out the right, because the right that's a very hard mech to take down for its size. So we have weapons fire from over here, so the right is probably trying to flank us, or it was before we moved. But we can't fight the right now, so what we can do is just keep working on this Raven here. We've cooled down a little bit, so I can do... I probably, when I get some more cooling abilities, I'm probably going to have to put some more cooling abilities on this Wolfhound. No hits there. You're going to see that a lot in this game. You're not going to hit on every round, and you just can't get frustrated by it. It's part of the game. Alright, so the Valkyrie, if it moves over here... And the Valkyrie model is actually just like a miniature Vindicator, which I think is kind of funny. And we got a good LRM shot here, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, we took out his ECM equipment, which means it's going to be easier to hit him going forward, and you'll see that right now, probably. Is our hit percentage will actually go up a fair amount. 33% chance, 30% chance with the AC-20. I got enough shots right now, I'll probably do it. If I was against harder opponents, I probably wouldn't do it, but let's go ahead and give that a try. 30% at that range is not too bad. All right, we missed, but we did hit a couple of times with the Inferno rocket. I mean, this guy, if he just stays at range, you know, we're just going to keep hitting him. And you see the missile percentage went up because the ECM suite was destroyed. All right, here comes that Wraith. Now, you see, that shot came from here, and yet we can't see the Wraith on our screen. Why? Because it has a stealth unit, which makes it very hard to shoot and see until it gets really close. So it's very realistic. The Raven has pulled back. Really cool feature. I can't stress enough the fact that I like the opponent does smart things. The Raven was being pummeled without any return. Ooh, is that the Wraith? All right, so the Wraith is here, or the right, I should say. See how he's kind of blurry and he's hard to see? That's because he's got stealth technology. So, so the Raven kind of retreated. What we're going to do is we're going to move everybody up and... Oh, all right, see, there's the Raven. Now, the hit chances on the Wraith are ridiculously low because it has stealth technology. But what you're going to have to do is just take your shots. All right, we hit him, actually. So that was pretty good for a shot against a Wraith. So we're going to move everybody up and get some shots on this guy now. 30% chance with the missiles. If I can get him tagged, which this tag system basically does, is puts a tracking device on the opponent. So we're just going to go ahead and fire everything here. See if we get lucky. All right, we got some hits in there. Now what we're probably going to see is we're going to see this Raven try to sneak up on us. So we're going to do some multi-target here. So we're going to put our opponent just 11% chance. And we can't shoot. But what I did is I put the Valkyrie in a position where it can actually watch our flank against that Raven. That's all right. Failed to connect. All right, let's see what the Raven does. He's going to come in. He says, well, my buddy is distracting them, so I can probably come in and do some damage. Let's see what the right does. All right, so it attacks us. We can handle that. I'd be more concerned if it was trying to close on us. So I'm going to actually take my light mechs and let them focus on this Raven. Maybe do a... yeah, we could do a targeting shot at one of the legs. Nope, no hits. Right, see the Wraith is kind of trying to circle around us. Look at our options here. So the Wraith, my chances of hitting are kind of low. The Raven's much better. So what we're going to do is do some multi-targeting here. So we're going to do the missile systems we're going to use on probably the right. And the lasers we'll use on the tag, along with the on the Raven, along with the AC-10. All right, so we're just trying to keep that guy honest. No joy on the Raven. You know, like I said, that does happen. You're not going to get 100% hits ever in this game. 50-50 is pretty good against a fast-moving target. Now you can see this Raven is moving pretty fast, so getting a 50-50 shot in, not too bad. So let's go ahead and... all right, we did some good damage there. Health is down to 1/3. If we hurt the opponent one more time... probably going to end up... no, I didn't do that right. That's okay. What I'd like to do is actually try to finish this guy off here. If I get one more injury, I can kill the pilot and hopefully keep some of his components available for salvage. And we missed. You're going to get used to missing a lot in RogueTech. All right, and the Raven decided it's going to move in and try to melee. See how quickly the Raven moved? I mean, it was out here, and then next second, it was attacking you. Because they can do a move and then hit in this game. See, he wants me to fight him. And I do have a jackhammer ability, so you know what? I'm going to try attack. So there you go. So the pilot got stressed out and he ejected because he didn't like the fact that I meleeed him. Ooh, lots of damage on that wolfhound. All right, but the opponent overheated, which is really bad. All right, my wolfhound is not looking so good. So since our opponent overheated here, what was the biggest thing that was keeping us from hitting him? The fact that he was moving. So now we actually have a pretty good shot at doing some damage on him. So I'm actually going to be pretty aggressive here. Try to kick him while he's down. Hit percentages are still lousy. Wolfhound, you are going to stay back because you need some serious repairs right now. He doesn't even have a decent chance of hitting right now, so I'm actually going to do vigilance. Alright, here comes the right. The right jumped. Ooh. Wow, he shut down my mech. Like I said, these are not hard battles, not easy battles at all. Especially against this thing because it's moving so fast. No damage, but I did heat him up, which is good. So I'm going to restart my Centurion here. Wolfhound up. See if I can get a shot. These, I hate these rights. They're just so hard to hit. Look at that, 7% chance. One thing that does help with these guys is if you do get into physical contact with them, they will lose their momentum. So I'm taking a chance by moving my Valkyrie up here. The goal will be... Ooh, got a good hit there. Our goal will be to actually... See, he's going after our Valkyrie. But the one thing he did do is actually give us a rear shot. Maybe not the best move. Because now I actually have a pretty good chance of a hit, especially with this flamer. Now this is crazy. I'm going to take my Valkyrie and I'm going to hit this thing. It's not going to do a lot of damage, but what it does is it takes away the enemy's momentum, which is going to make him instantly easier for us to hit. See how the hit percent went way up? So it's probably worth it. Alright, we can do an alpha strike on this thing. if I do Alpha Strike with a targeted shot, it really cuts down our hit percentage. Oh wait, no. He's overheated. That's why I'm getting that. Alright, so 30% chance. 63% chance on the missiles. 50% on the tag. Alright, pretty good. Alright, let's see what the enemy does here. Ah, it's so overheated that all it could do was move a little bit and then it shut down. So we're at the end game now, as they like to say. All right, let's try to maximize some salvage here if I can. Ooh, endo composite destroyed. Yeah, that's the real catch-22. More so in this game than in vanilla BattleTech. It's a real catch-22 because you obviously want to knock the opponent out, but each component that you take out, see, it just destroyed the engine. Now, when you destroy the opponent's engine, obviously they're down for the count. It's the same thing as when you core out an enemy in traditional BattleTech. So that's the end of that mission. So we took out 3 light mechs, clan mechs, and they gave us a run for our money. I mean, there's some significant damage here. We're probably going to have multiple days of repairs, but that's okay, because what we'll do is in the salvage we're going to get some opportunities to get some clan salvage, which is the best salvage you can get in this game. They have the best systems, the best components that you can salvage and put them in regular mechs. They have double heat sinks, they have pulse lasers. They have things that are very hard to get on the open market or when you're fighting non-clan opponents. So let's look at our damage. Flatline got injured for 15 days, not too bad. Liu Yang is almost completely ready to go. The Centurion needs a little bit of repair, not too bad. Remember, we have to replace the armor, which is going to take a while. Wolfhound, it's got a lot of damage. It's probably going to be some significant repair. The Valkyrie just lost a little armor, so it's in pretty good shape, actually. All right, so let's look at salvage. All right, so one of the things that are frustrating in this game, and you can actually disable it, is when you have a lower level, which you start out at the beginning, your the people you work for can actually select some of the best salvage before you get a chance to select. So what it's saying here is they're taking the right and they're taking the commando parts. So that's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is, right? So we're going to continue. Now again, you can actually disable that. But there's lots of good components parts here. So let's take a look at what we got here. So we got Raven parts. Now initially someone might say, oh, you got to grab the Raven parts. I don't disagree with that. But the Raven is only going to become so strong simply because it's a light mech. Whereas we have this here, which is laser AMS, right? That's actually a very valuable component and very hard to find. So I might select that. We've got some plus lasers, not pulse, so probably wouldn't select that. This clan heavy laser. So I might lean towards taking this heavy laser because it's pretty valuable. Then we have this medium pulse laser. Ooh, small extended range pulse laser. So the range is close, but not too close. I mean, it can shoot out to 120 meters, and it does 33 damage. Not too bad for half, well, it's a full ton, so maybe not so good. All right, so we got some we got endo steel here. Ooh. Endo steel, very valuable. And then we have some engine cores. An XL engine. Wow. See, this is why you want to fight clans, because you get insane options here. So we got some back. Oh, double heat sinks. Oh man. Look at all these double heat sinks. So valuable. There's only so many. Now I can only select my top two, and then I have to. So I'm going to take this. I have to take this engine. This engine is worth $7.5 million. This is a great engine to get my hands on. Then I'm going to have to probably take the clan endo steel. Okay, that's probably the best two things. I didn't even touch the mech part. I'm just going to have to hope. Now, I would love to get some double heat sinks. So we're just going to roll the dice and see what we get here. Ooh, so I got a Raven part. I got the laser AMS, which is really nice. I got the small pulse laser. I've got some SRMs. I got the endo steel, which is what I selected. I got the extra large engine. And I got a heat sink kit. Okay, so that's pretty good salvage. I got lots of clan salvage out of that. So all in all, pretty good return. Pretty good return. Now the tricky part here is we're gonna have some downtime for repair. So what we're probably gonna do to wrap up this video is we can go through doing the repair on the mechs. Maybe I can trade out some weapons. Because one thing on this in RogueTech, I'm not in a particular hurry. Okay, so it's more important that you maximize your mech's survivability than it is to rush out and start a battle as quickly as possible. I've got some pretty significant damage here, so we'll see how much repairs I have to do. But see, that was a pretty good example of how RogueTech is different. So in traditional BattleTech, first of all, those mechs wouldn't be on the field in those configurations. Second of all, they would have just charged in, and I could have just sat in cover and whittled them down and destroyed them. in this game, you saw those light mechs played to their strengths. The Raven did hit and run. The Commando did hit and run. The Wright, which has a stealth package and is very fast. You saw how hard it was to attack it. Was trying to flank us constantly and forced us to take low percentage shots to slowly whittle him down. So, completely different battle experience than what you saw with BattleTech. So, one of the things you'll see, all right, so we... right? So Yang is telling us, ooh, $156,000 in damage and 17 days for repairs. Want my crew to get started. Now, normally I would say yes, but I want to walk you through some things, and also I want to take some of those component parts and hopefully integrate them into my mechs. So let's hit no. I'm still going to be doing the repairs, but I'm going to look at each mech. I probably will increase the repairs. By adding on some component parts, and I'll show you how that's going to work. All right. Because again, in this game, it's more important that we maximize. So let's look at Yanlo Wang. Probably just needs a little armor touch up and it's ready to go. But we've got some new toys to play with, right? So let's take a look at what we can put in, because Yanlo Wang is my most powerful mech. So what changes can we make since it needs some repairs anyways? Let's look at equipment. An energy computer, that really doesn't help me very much. Heatsink kit. So if I put this engine in, it will reduce my tonnage by so let's just experiment here. So if I take out this engine core and I put this engine core in, it's going to take a lot more space. Oh, and it still wants a fusion core. I'm not sure how that works, so I'm going to have to research that before the next video, because it still wants a fusion core. So we're not going to use that. We already have ferrous fiber. So don't know if I want to use this yet. Where's my AMS? Okay, so the AMS, I'm going to go ahead and so I'm going to add the laser AMS to this mech. So that will be very, very good thing to add on, especially since I had some tonnage. Ooh, I've got this pulse laser. Small extended range pulse laser. That would be good on this mech because it doesn't have... It will give me a lot more punch in the shorter range. Where can I put that? Alright, so I can put that on this arm. Alright, I'm slightly overweight. But remember, I maxed out the armor here, so we can make some adjustments. Still be a very robust mech. So my durability, my heat efficiency went way down. So do I want to take off? What if I put this in this? No, I can't put it there. Heatsink clan. Now I'm overweight. Why is it making me overweight? Okay. Again, we're gonna have to do some research. Yeah, as you can see, putting together a mech is much harder than it used to be. So, do I want to take a ton of armor off to add some more heat sinks? Probably not. I'm probably just going to have to manage my heat. But I'm probably not going to do too many alpha strikes with this one. So let's make those changes. It's going to take 4 days. It's worth it though. The AMS in particular is good. All right, so let's look at the Centurion here. Do our repairs. Lost half a ton of LRM armor. What do I want to do about that? I don't think I need to do anything right now, so let's max out the armor. So going to give us half a ton. It's going to give us a half a ton. All right, 2/10 of a ton. I can live with that. So we're going to make those changes. It's going to be down for 8 days. Now your repairs take a lot longer. A lot longer in this, in your first couple rounds in RogueTech. Okay, so the Valkyrie is fine, so we can leave the Valkyrie alone. Our Wolfhound's going to need some significant refitting here. 112,000 in repairs. And I need a medium laser. We don't have any, so we're going to have to go see what the price is for a medium laser. No medium lasers for sale. So what do we do? What do we do? Oh, here we go. Here's the medium laser. Never mind. So that's all we need for now. We can put in the medium laser, which got destroyed. And we lost a hand. The hand is not that important. So we're gonna not replace the hand, and we'll just maximize the armor. It's gonna take 11 days. So as we say here, so we're gonna look at, I've got the Vulcan. I want to finish that repair. Centurion. So we actually have like literally a month worth of repair time. So let's go ahead and accelerate through that. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to highlight a few things before we end this video. So one of the things I want to highlight is you're going to see here that pilots become fatigued. So your pilots need time to rest in between missions. So our 3 pilots that didn't get injured are fatigued, so they need some time to rest anyways. We're doing some upgrades, and we've got our repairs. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just fast forward time. We have enough money. It's not that big of a deal. It's more important that I go out with a full lance. All right. And in addition, engineering can work on a few things. Now, one of the first things you're going to do in engineering is get this second mech bay going. Not only for storage, but even more important, a second mech bay lets you work on 2 mechs at the same time. So it's definitely something that you want to invest in early in the game. It's a lot of money, but that's okay, because you get the second mech bay and you get the ability to work on 2 mechs at the same time. So there we go. Don't know why I went into the hiring hall, so let's just go ahead and fast forward here. I'm not going to wait for, and here's our usual Flashpoint situation. If you've played Flashpoint, you know what that is. I'm not going to spend time on it. So I'm going to get the Centurion up, and then since we have the Vulcan available, we can actually go out with a lance once I get the Centurion up. All right, friend of a friend. One of the things you're going to notice is there's more instances or story parameters in RogueTech. They did a good job of putting these together. In the command center, one of Darius's old friends contacts you via holobid. I have a particular request. I have a friend who wants you to train a fresh recruit, Samuel Damon. No academy training, but he's sharp. Goes by the call sign Squire in the hiring hall. Really? A friend of a friend wants me to take on a fresh recruit. Sounds fishy. Can't say much more, but my friend has a soft spot for underdogs. They want to see how much a warrior can learn hands-on And you've done a lot with a little, Commander. Not to mention, I'd be grateful. We could perform a background check on the Squire, maybe learn something about his mysterious friend as well. So my choices are perform a background check, refuse to hire the recruit, or agree. I'll go ahead and hire him. Later that night, when you return to your quarters, you receive a message titled Word from a Friend. Austin Allred appears on your screen. I'm glad you're giving Squire a shot. Even I needed a chance to prove myself, Commander. You know, I already dropped out of the... So one day, General Inspector Class. Squire is now present in the local hiring hall. Alright, so... let's take a look at Squire. Ooh, he is raw. He is a raw recruit. So I don't have to make a decision on this right now. Maybe I want to hire him if one of my people die before I leave the planet. I don't have to worry about that right now. So let's go back to the Argo. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish this repair. And we just completed the mech bay work. Upgrades to the Argo come a lot faster in RogueTech. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a training module. Probably a good idea. And now we should have a full lance, right? So we've got the regular Centurion. We have the upgraded Centurion. We have the Vulcan, which we haven't seen in battle yet. It's a 40-tonner. Should be pretty good. It has a medium pulse, a large pulse. It's a pretty good medium mech, I would say. A little short on armor, but so what we can do on the next video, which we'll do probably later on today, is we'll just do another mission or two. But yeah, that's an initial really quick look, well, an hour and a half look at RogueTech. So we'll be back with another video very soon. Again, if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel because future RogueTech videos are going to be on their way. This is going to be my game of choice for the immediate future. And whenever I play, I record. So there's going to be lots of RogueTech videos coming. So go ahead and subscribe and we'll see you later.